Definition and sources and significance of the ideology. The establishment of the Pakistan in the subcontinent was the historical event of the 20th century. A strong ideology was instrumental in bringing about this event. This that term ideology is used for the Urdu word nazariya. Ideology, the word ideology has been the subject of disagreement among social intellectuals or sociologists from the every from the very beginning in the term of its definition and the meaning. Various schools of these thoughts and the researchers of the different periods have described ideology in their own style. By meaning, ideology refers to thinking or purpose, whereas in the literal sense, ideology can be defined as the idea, thought, and the sketch that emerge in mind to bring something into the existence is called the ideology. An outline of the thoughts designed to achieve any purpose is called the ideology. Collective thinking of a nation on a single agenda for a specific purpose is known as a ideology. Sometimes that unites people and that pursues them to try to achieve it is called ideology. Ideology impels such a plan or program that is based on the philosophy and the thoughts to solve the political, social, and cultural issues. Sources of ideology. Common religion. Religion is mainly a set of the prayers, but it is affect the entire social life of a nation in the 19th century. Mainly Hindu movements such as the Arya Samaj and the Brahmo Samaj began the Indian subcontinent, which were intent to propagate the Hinduism and bring down Muslim. The founder of the Arya Samaj, Pandit Dhyand Sarvati, had crossed all the limits. They started a program called Shuddhi, which was aimed for Sibli, converting non-Hindus into Hindu, that they clean them according to the Hindu mind. Rajram Mohan Rai, the founder of Brahmo Samaj, also used to speak the against Muslims out Muslim hostility. The Congress government 1937 to 39 reinforced this nation, and it became that difficult for the Muslim in the United India to maintain their religious identity. Common political objective. Because of common political objectives, many nations of the world struggled for their independence. With the arrival of the British, the concept of the democracy emerged in the Indian subcontinent, in which government representatives were to be elected by vote. The Muslims were in minorities by population in the Indian subcontinent. Therefore, the share of the Muslims in the government was small. The identity of the Muslims started to emerge due to the consciousness given by the new political system. Common educational objects. Common educational objects are also the source of the nation's ideology. After the corruption of after the occupation of the subcontinent, the British introduced the system of education in which the English language had central position. The Muslim scholars reacted to it and declared that the learning of English language was against Islam. Most of the Muslims rejected the new system of education. It all happened on the basis of the ideology, and that was the ideology of Islam. Common economic objective. Common economic objectives are also the source of the nation ideology after the war independence 1857 to gain the sympathy of the British. The Hindus succeeded in the convince them that the role of the Muslims in the war of the independence was greater and that the future too the Muslim might try it again. Consequently, the attitude of the British became harsh toward the Muslims who continued to be economically obsessed and ignored. For these reasons, the business and the trade opportunities for Muslims diminished, but they did not abandon their ideology. Common cultural objectives. Common cultural objectives also gave rise to nations' ideology. Urdu was official language when the British occupied India. When the Hindus became more involved in British government, they tried to replace Urdu with Hindi as the official language. Since Urdu was written in Arabic script, it was considered close to Islam and Muslims, while Hindi was written in the Devanagari script. So Hindus started demanding Hindi as the official language instead of Urdu. Muslims could not read or write Hindi. This act of Hindus made the Muslims think that they would no longer be able to maintain their identity in the united India. Importance of the ideology. Ideology reflects people's think because of its nation's same life. Ideology explains the national rights and duties of human beings together. Ideology is helpful keeping the nation united. Ideology provides the power to face all kind of the difficulties to achieve the objectives. Ideology creates the spirit of struggle and achieve the objective and ensure the achievement of the objectives. Ideology gave rise to a revolution and new way emerged because of it. No theory came out into being immediately unless some events are at work behind it. Ideology is usually created to eliminate and deprivation in the backward people of the society. It can also be said that difficult situation and social pressure gave rise to vision and the troubled people in the society became its strength. Just as a black people in the United States began fight for the equal rights, so did their ideology of equal rights. Prolonged deprivation of a basic human rights gave rise to the vision of the equal rights for them. Similarly, when the Muslims of the Indian subcontinent began to struggle for their social and political rights, it was because of the cruel attitude of the British and the Hindus, which created a wave of freedom within the Muslims. The ideology for the separate homeland for the Muslims comes into being. So we can say that behind every ideology there are elements like history, traditions, customs, uh, tem- temperament, psychology, and religion. These elements highlight the importance of an ideology. A meaning of ideology of Pakistan. The Islamic philosophy of life is the foundation of the ideology of Pakistan. The ideology of Pakistan refers to the consciousness of the Muslims in the historical perspective of the South Asian subcontinent that they were different from their nations on the basis of the Islamic way of the life. Qaid Muhammad Ali Jinnah once said that the foundation of Pakistan was laid on the every day when the first non was converted into the Muslim. In the light of the definition of the ideology of Pakistan was the process by which a particular ideology was founded on Islam. The purpose of this clarification was implement the Islam as a cultural, political, and economic system. Pakistan comes into being under an ideology which is called ideology of Pakistan. The ideology of Pakistan is like a soul in the body of a Pakistan, without which there can be no concept of the existence of Pakistan. During the Pakistan movement, the Muslim of India consciously struggled to establish an independent Muslim state under an ideology. Definition of the ideology of Pakistan is given as under. The ideology of Pakistan refers to the attainment of the separate land in which Muslims of the subcontinent can preserve Islamic values and ideals in the light of the Quran and Sunnah and spend their lives under the glorious principle of Islam. The overall concept of Pakistan movement and the creation of Pakistan is called the ideology of Pakistan. The ideology of Pakistan is the ideological basis under which the Muslims of the subcontinent struggle for their identity, rights, separate homeland, and national welfare. Explanation of the ideology of Pakistan with reference to the basic value of Islam, Muslim reformer, and social culture aspect of the Muslim India. Ideology of Pakistan is the soul of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan because of which it is safe, secure, and vibrant. The existence of the Pakistan depends on the ideology on which it came into the existence. The Muslim of the subcontinent established Pakistan under the same ideology, and this ideology can keep it strong and stable. Pakistan was established essentially for the implementation of Islamic principles, Islamic values. The Muslims of the subcontinent had decided at the time of the demand for Pakistan that a social based on the golden principle of Islam be established where Islamic values like justice, equality, freedom and tolerance would be promoted. After the establishment of the Pakistan, Quaid-e-Azam Rahmatullah alayhi was asked why there was a demand for Pakistan, as the Muslims had the freedom to worship according to their religion, even without the division of subcontinent. He replied, brotherhood, equality and fraternity are the basic talent of our religion, culture and civilization. We fought for the creation of a Pakistan because there was a danger of a denial of these fundamental human rights. According to the Quaid-e-Azam Rahmatullah alayhi, Pakistan had to be a country where the rights, human freedom, justice and tolerance could be practiced. Thus, Pakistan could become an example for other countries and societies, so that they too could follow its footsteps to become the happy and prosperous. The ideology of Pakistan was a basis of the establishment of a welfare and a model state. The Muslim reformers. The concept of the two-nation theory had begun with the arrival of the Muslims in the subcontinent. Then, on survival occasions, the possibilities of clarification, evaluation, and consolidation of this theory developed. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan explicitly declared in 1867 that the Hindus and the Muslims were two separate nations and could not be merged together. In 1879, Maulana Jamil Uddin Afghani. In 1819, Maulana Abdul Halim Sharar, and in 1928, Maulana Murtaza Ahmad Makash talked of the separate state for the Muslims. Allama Muhammad Iqbal gave the concept of the separate state for the Muslims in his Allahabad address in 1913. Social and cultural conditions of the Muslims of the subcontinent. Ideology of Pakistan calls for the particular lifestyle, civilization and the culture. Undoubtedly, religion Islam has created a deep impact on the Muslim civilization and culture of the subcontinent. Traditions also flourished due to the unique authenticity, civilization, culture, heritage, and the geographical environment of the Muslim of the subcontinent. All participants that were not against Islamic teachings were the culture heritage of the Muslims, which continue to be even today. The Muslim, while consisting with other nations in the subcontinent, protecting the cultural values of the Islamic democratic system in its secret. The consultation Sharia system is given importance in Islam to ensure the rule of law. The practice of ideology of Pakistan strengthens the root of the tolerance, justice and democracy according to the Muslims of the subcontinent. In ideology of Pakistan, democracy is an important pillar. National reconstruction depends on the furnish of the national sentiments and the success of the democracy and associated with Islam. The Muslims of the subcontinent spoke many languages. Their cultures, tradition, race, social environment were different and their color were not uniform. Religion, Islam was the only force that molded all Muslims into one nation. According to Islam, Muslim is the brother of the Muslim, and Muslim always identify themselves with their religion. Allama Iqbal Rahmatullah alayhi highlighted the importance of the religious bond, stating that the Muslims are an ummah because of the religion of Islam, and their power potential depends on it. In this poetry, he presented the true concept of the basis of the Muslim ummah as follows: अपनी मिल्लत पर क़यास इक़वाम मगरिब से ना कर, खास तरकीब में अपनी मिल्लत पर क़यास इक़वाम मगरिब से ना कर, उनकी जमीयत का है मुल्क व नसब पर अंसार, खास है तरकीब में कौम रसूल हाशमी, कुव्वत महज़्ज़ब से मुस्तक़िम है जामियत तेरी। Judge not your nation on the criteria of the Western culture nations, especially in the composition in the Hashmi Rasul nation based on country and race in their organization. The force of Deen stabilize your organization. The force of Deen stabilize your organization. The combined power of the Congress and English government was hindering the strong intentions of the Quaid-e-Azam Rahmatullah Alayh and all the India Muslim League. Quaid-e-Azam Rahmatullah Alayh wanted to free the Muslim from both of them. The numerical purity of the Hindus and the immense power of the British government could not prevent the Muslims from making Pakistan because the Muslims were associated with Islam. Quaid-e-Azam Rahmatullah Alayh continued his efforts for the glory of the Islam and protection of Muslims, and even the stronger opposition could not stop him from this mission. The Muslim nation proved itself to be strong and perfect nation under the leadership of its great leader, and succeed in achieving the concept of a separate nationality of Muslims through national unity. The concept was termed as the ideology of Pakistan. Islamic State and right of minorities. Quaid-e-Azam Rahmatullah Alayh had clearly stated that Pakistan would not be a theoretic but an Islamic welfare state. Here, non-Muslims will get equal status with Muslims. They will be able to breathe in the free and the pleasant atmosphere and have equal rights. The requirements of the tolerance and the justice will be met. On August 11, 1947, in the Constituent Assembly of Pakistan, he explained the concept of the Islamic State as under: you are free to go to your places of worship. You may belong to any religion, caste, creed, but it will have nothing to do with the business of the state. All citizens of Pakistan are equal and will enjoy the equal rights. Awareness about ideology of Pakistan. Today, young generation needs to be fully aware of the ideology of Pakistan and the objectives of the creation of Pakistan. In order to continue the emotional relationship and love, it is essential that today's Pakistan nation must be fully informed about ideology of Pakistan. They must be aware of the great movement that was the launch in the subcontinent for the creation of Pakistan. To keep the people of Pakistan strong and united, it is essential that they fully understand the importance of the ideology of Pakistan and the sacrifice of the leaders of the movement. To eradicate hearted at the language, region and province level across the country, it is essential to have a heartly attachment with the ideology of Pakistan. Elements of the ideology of Pakistan. The ideology of Pakistan is based on the Islamic philosophy of life. Beliefs, worship, rule of law, brotherhood, equality, justice and fairness are the elements of the ideology of Pakistan. These elements are discussed below. Beliefs include Tawheed, monotheism, Risalat, prophethood, Akhirat, hereafter. Akhirat is hereafter. Angels, and believe in holy books. This set of the beliefs is called faith. Tawheed. Monotheism means the Almighty Allah is the creator and the ruler of the entire universe. He is one and unique. He has no partner and nothing to beyond his knowledge, and nothing is beyond his knowledge. इन्नल्लाह अला कुल्ली शैइन कदीर, इन्नल्लाह अला कुल्ली शैइन कदीर, बेशक अल्लाह हर चीज पर कादिर है. सूरह बकरा आयत नंबर 20. इन्नल्लाह अला कुल्ली शैइन कदीर. इन्नी जाहिलु फिल अर्दि खलीफा, मैं जमीन पे अपना नायब बनाने वाला हूँ. Indeed, I will make upon the earth a khalifa, successive authority, right? The state of the man is the vicegerent of the Almighty Allah. Therefore, it is essential for the Muslims to follow the commands of Allah Almighty. The belief in the omnipotence of the Almighty Allah and the subordination of man makes it clear that the man is capable of the extent of his power, but real power is rests with Almighty Allah. Man should act according to his power and leave the result to Allah Almighty. believe in their salat. Prophethood means believing in the Allah, in all the Rasul's prophet in order to enter the realm of Islam. It is essential to accept the salat wholeheartedly and not to doubt in any way. Believing in the Quran and Risalat as the source of guidance, and believing in Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the last Rasul, and believing that no Rasul will come after him is the essential part of the believing in the Risalat, and whoever denies it cannot be a Muslim. Pillars of Islam: belief, Tawheed and Risalat, yani prophethood, is the first pillar of Islam. The second pillar is namaz. Allah Almighty has commanded prayer in the many places in the Quran. It is obligatory to perform the prayers at the prescribed times. Almighty Allah has instructed in Quran, बेशक नमाज मोमिनों पर वक्त की पाबंदी के साथ फर्ज है. इन्ना सलातुल कानत अलल मोमिनीन किताबन. In fact, rarely, prayer is obligatory for the Muslim in accordance with the fixed timing. In fact, establishing prayer is an example of the establishing the religion of Islam, which is demonstrated every day. Such a system of Allah Almighty's worship should be established in the whole society. The third pillar of the Islam is zakat. Zakat is the financial worship and the means of strengthening the economic system of the Islam. Due to the zakat system, wealth remain in the circulation rather than getting accommodated in few hands and reaches the poor segment of the society. Fourth pillar of Islam is Som. It means fasting. Like the acts of this worship, fasting is the best expression of the duty and the means of the intimacy between man and Allah Almighty. Hajj is the fifth pillar of the Islam, which is obligatory for a man of means. The call of Allahumma labbaik, Allah Almighty, I am present. Allah Almighty, I am present. On the occasion of Hajj is an example of the unity and the brotherhood of the Muslims, which is not found anywhere in the world. Rule of the law. The rule of law is an important virtue of the Islamic system. It is based on the ideas that Allah Almighty is the source of the law. The basis of the law is Holy Quran and Sunnah. Kings as well as slaves are equal before the law. It can be said that there is a separate of democracy in the Islamic system. Democracy has been sealed by binding the ruler to make the decision through the mutual consultation. The condition is that all decisions should be made in the light of Quran and Sunnah. Equality and brotherhood. Brotherhood and equality are the special importance in Islamic society. When the Islamic government was established in Medina, brotherhood and equality were ideal. When today the Islamic society demands the same brotherhood and equality that was seen in Medina, this principle was severely lacking before the Islam, and people were enemies of each other. But with the establishment of the state of the Medina, the Holy Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, while observing the rights of the people, had the worship to show the comparison to the orphan, widow and needy. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave people the code of the living so that the people could live in love with each other and create an atmosphere of brotherhood and equality in society. He explained the system of zakat and charity and forbade because there is no room in Islam for exploiting and looting of others. Brotherhood teaches the fraternal relations should be mutually established so that no one rights could be taken away, nor could anyone oppress the weak. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, एक मुसलमान दूसरे मुसलमान का भाई है, इसके साथ धोखा नहीं करता, इसके साथ खयानत नहीं करता, इसकी ग़ीबत नहीं करता. A Muslim is the brother of another Muslim, and he does not deceive and betray him, and does not backbite him. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us that refrain from hatred and envy, So the Muslims should live in the harmony of and people each other. In the Islamic society, there is brotherhood and fraternity are important. There is also an emphasis on equality. There is no word of Allama Dr. Iqbal. एक ही सिर्फ में खड़े हो गए महमूद और अयाज. न कोई बंदा रहा न कोई बंदा नवाज. Mahmoud and Ayaz stood side by side, and there was no difference between a slave and master. Mahmoud and Ayaz stood side by side. Mahmoud and Ayaz stood side by side, and there was no difference between the slave and master. There is no difference between the slave and master. In Islam, there is no concept of the high and low classes. Islam has laid the foundation of the society in which everyone, rich and poor, are equal. No one is superior to another. The Holy Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam stated this fact that in his last sermon as follows: "ए लोगों, बेशक तुम्हारा रब भी एक है और तुम्हारा बाप भी एक. आगाह रहो." किसी अजमी को किसी अरबी को किसी अजमी पर, किसी अजमी को किसी अरबी पर, किसी सफेद फार्म को स्याह फार्म पर और किसी स्याह फार्म को सफेद फार्म पर कोई फजीलत हासिल नहीं. फजीलत का म्यार सिर्फ तकवा है. O people, surely your Lord Allah is one, and your father Hazrat Adam is also one. Be aware, an Arab has no superiority over an Ajman, or no Arab, and an Ajman, no Arab, non-Arab has no superiority over an Arab. A white has no superiority over the black, and black has no superiority over the white. The standard of ritual is pity